Unscheduled one today, and went back and forth on whether or not to share perspectives on something that transpired this week. Decided that in the interest of passing on what I learned, even when it's not entirely positive, it's worthwhile. I was driving down a street here in Rochester, came up to a light, and on the left side, in a gas station parking lot, there was two people beating up one person. So I pulled in the parking lot, and in hindsight, a much smarter strategy would have been to lay on the horn and expect that they would disperse. The reason I chose not to do that is with a situation like that, 2-on-1 or something, it can escalate so quickly. And really all it takes with one person hitting someone one way and one person hitting someone another way is one shot and someone is injured or dead. So instead of taking the safer route, staying in the car, I chose to step out of the car and insisted that they break off. They didn't. So I grabbed the one kid, shook him around, threw him towards his friend. As I was doing that, the kid who was getting beaten ran off, and the other two stayed close, continued to talk like we were going to re-engage. I was really hoping that didn't happen. Someone else drove up, got out of the car. They didn't do anything, but just the presence of an actual adult, I think, turned them away. The actual physical engagement was quick, and basically just grabbing, controlling, breaking posture, and throwing someone down. The circumstance itself is one that I've been in similar in the past, but it's never ever black and white, and it's never ever without risk, and it's most especially never without risk with multiple parties. And if you've chosen to carry weapons around with you. So there's just a couple of points I wanted to make sure and land today. One, we know that a lot of people that watch us and pay attention to what we're doing are the sorts that are going to intervene if they see something unfair going on. We have a gigantic amount of respect for that. And just to qualify also, if it was one person beating up one person, I mean, I wouldn't have interjected. I think people scrapping to figure their shit out is something that should probably happen more often. But when you start talking about 2-on-1 or multiple people on one, or someone with a weapon and someone without one, or a man and a woman, you know, until you've either witnessed or been involved in those types of situations, you don't realize how dangerous that can be. So that's something that I would always intervene in. But circling back, if you haven't addressed the physical skill set that would allow you to intervene in something like that with some level of confidence, and without being overconfident, I know that I can fight. I'm confident in my ability to diffuse many flavors of trouble. However, there's no chance of knowing what's going on there. You don't know if those kids are carrying knives. You don't know if those kids have guns. You don't know if their friends are around the corner. You just don't know. So in something like that, the physical side of your skill set has to be in place. That has to be an afterthought during the process, especially if you're carrying weapons or something like that. We see a lot of people these days talking about what they carry around every day and things like that. And again, that's something that, you know, handled properly is an excellent idea. Handled improperly is often more dangerous than it is valuable. And in a situation like this one that I'm describing, if you're carrying something around and you're not 100% confident in the physical skill set that would allow you to either retain or apply that if necessary, it's more of a risk to you than it is a benefit to you. That's important to consider. If those kids had gotten the jump on me, if those kids had had a friend, if I had fallen down, which is not outside the realm of possibility, and something dropped, you have to pay attention to what you would do there. You have to be first and foremost thinking about retaining and keeping safe whatever you've chosen to carry around or do. In a situation like that, I knew for a fact that even if it went wrong, I could get away and get out without, one, being seriously injured, or two, losing anything that I was holding on to. And that is only because I'm confident in the physical skill set that would bring me to intervening in a situation like that in the first place. The perception versus the reality of intercepting something like that is important to consider. If you've never had your hands on anyone, if you've never been knocked around in training, the last time you ever want to find out if you have that is in a situation like that. And even having gone through that several times and having been involved in circumstances like that, I would imagine maybe more often than most, it always surprises me when it actually comes time to happen, the violence of action and the speed and kind of the force and also the mental games it plays when it's transpiring. It's all so quick and it's all so deliberate, and if you make one mistake, it's moving so quickly that there's a lot of chance for compromise there. So the couple of things that I wanted to pass on were, in evaluating what I did correctly, I always stayed facing both parties, so that there was no chance of one of those two getting me. When I left, I retraced my steps so that they couldn't catch me at the light. And most importantly, I had practiced anything that would have been used in the physical sense with the mindset of knowing, okay, if I'm holding onto a weapon or something, the only way this situation can go meteorically fucking wrong for me is if that either falls or gets taken. So the physical participation was something that I was confident in, and I didn't have to really think all that much about then, because I've thought about it so much outside of that. What I was thinking then is retention, making sure I stay safe, making sure I intercept the kid who's getting beaten and put myself as a barrier between him and the others, and making sure that I stayed facing both of them so that there was no chance of one of them getting me. So this is not a recommendation of intervening in a situation like that. It's just me passing on personal experience, knowing that many of you would, and again, reiterating my high level of respect for that, but also making sure that enthusiasm is tempered with reality. If you've never practiced personal defense tactics, if you've never practiced things that are not a simply sport martial art, it's extremely important to do so if you know that your mind is going to allow you to intervene in a situation like that. If you choose to carry things around for personal defense, make sure that you know how to retain them. Make sure that you know how to apply them. The last thing you ever want to expect is for fine motor skills to function in a heightened situation like that. And you know, no one is without failure potential in a situation like that. So just to end this up, I'm just going to read off something that we made a while ago as a reminder, and hopefully this has been a little bit helpful. None of this is ever to glamorize violence or anything like that. It's just passing on experience that I hope can be valuable for someone who's listening. If you have not prepared with proven software, not novelty hardware, you are not prepared. If you have not addressed it properly and consistently, your physical skill set and the mind that governs it is ultra fallible and likely rife with self-deception. And only in the shallowest of water is self-deception forgiven. Many believe themselves to have some sort of mysterious tiger in the tank that they can and will draw forth if and when a physical or confrontational need arises. Such is a faulty and dangerous exercise in denial, based on a lack of will to ensure the tiger really exists. Guessing is not a personal safety strategy. We would rather have and not need than need and not have. And we would rather push too far and know than stand still and wonder. Always prepare before you intend to apply. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you. Have a good day.